it's Chris from Epix again. Welcome to part 2 of our maintenance scheduling video. The first part, which you should have already seen, was all about getting the maintenance schedule into the system. The second part is going to be explaining what the maintenance schedule sheet does and how to navigate around it. So we're going to assume that somebody has created a maintenance schedule and now you would like to do some work on it. So using the Find and Maintenance Schedule button, we can then search for either the work plan itself, or we can search by client or site or contract. You could even look for it by date as well. Now I happen to know that the one we've just created was a service plan reference of 100, so I could just type that in there and I know that that will find it. But if we didn't know, we could of course look for the client, and we could look for one that's due to begin at some point in the next month and press search, and there we have one result, which was service reference 100, and this was our site here and the dates of the schedule, and of course we've got the date that it was created, the number of jobs that we have scheduled in, the number of items, that's your assets or pieces of equipment that have been scheduled, and that's the unique number of assets. So what this is telling you is that over 6 visits we've got 51 assets that have been scheduled up, which means that you've got 110 scheduled assets to be serviced at some point over the 12 months here. So clicking on the reference here takes us back into the service plan sheet that you saw at the end of the last video. The service plan sheet is structured with a navigation bar down the left here in black, and then the grey area here where reports can be displayed. So I'll start by explaining the reports first. So first of all, I'll click on service details, and that will give you the summary of what this service plan is. The service jobs report shows you the list of jobs and the statuses that they're at. So if you remember in part 1 to this video, we issued the April or the first visit out to an operative. So that one is this one here, which is currently at status issued. And from here we can click into the job, where you can then view the job sheet for each individual job on this particular maintenance schedule. The service schedule button, this launches the graphical view of the plan. So as you created the maintenance plan in video 1, this is the view of that just displayed graphically for you. From here you can click onto the asset references to take you into the asset sheet, where you can do a whole host of different processes against the asset. And also you can click here on the edit pencil to directly edit the asset should you wish. But there'll be another video on that, so we won't cover that just now. And finally, the billing, if we click on there, this will launch the billing schedule if you've set one up. So if you remember in part 1 to our video, we did set up a billing schedule, and we set it up with 4 different billing dates, and the first one is displayed here. And the idea of this is that you could just simply press the generate button to generate the invoice, and it would have on it the description shown here. So you could press generate, that will create an invoice for you held against this maintenance schedule, and then as you get closer to the second billing date, you'll find that the row for that particular billing will arrive as well, and you'll be able to then generate that as it gets closer to the time. To explain the options under the processes heading here, the first one of redo from scratch. Let's say you'd made a mistake with the schedule, so you might have got the start and end dates completely wrong, or you'd not done it for the required length of time, or you'd made a real mess of it and you just simply want to start again. Then pressing redo from scratch takes you into the editing screen where you can then make changes. Just to bring your attention though to this column here, we can't make a change to this one because it's been issued out to an engineer. In order to make changes to that one, the issued visit to that engineer would have to be cancelled so that you could then make a change. But of course we could make changes to any one of these by simply editing them here and so on. And once you've made all changes that you want to make, pressing continue will save those. Now I don't want to make any changes at the moment, so I'm just going to press the red X. The second option down is the quick edit schedule. And what this allows us to do, it allows us to make very quick changes to which assets are shown on which jobs. So we can do this without affecting the overall schedule. So the previous button of redo from scratch, that will redo all the jobs, and it is a very much start again process. This one allows us to make very quick changes to jobs even if they've already been issued out. So take for example this first visit here for April. If we expand on the sub-report by clicking here on the blue triangle, this will load up a list of all the assets and show us which ones have been scheduled and which ones have not. And that's indicated here by the tick in this box. So let's say for example that we wanted to add these 3 because we'd forgotten to do it on the plan. Then all we simply do is we click here. This then is telling us that we're going to apply the update, so you can just carry on. So it's just warning you that the processes you're doing are making changes to the schedule. So I'm going to add all 3 of those. I'm going to make a note of SPC 1, 2 and 3 as our references. And then I'm going to come out of here. And if I now go to the service jobs and have a look in the April visit, then down here on our job sheet in the related process jobs, we would now expect to find the SPC 1, 2 and 3 have now been added as tasks to do on that job. So just to remind you, the quick edit schedule, this is all about making quick changes to the assets that are shown on a specific job that comes from the maintenance schedule. So if we click on the sub-report for this one here, if we wanted to remove an asset, we could do by unticking it, and then that's now removed that asset from that job. The edit dates button is best used in conjunction with the redo from scratch option. So if you want, let's say for example you had created your schedule but done it a month too short or a month too long and you needed to change it, then editing the dates using this button here and then changing them using the calendar pickers here, this will allow you to change the dates for the schedule, but what that won't do is it won't impact upon the jobs. So if you needed to create an additional visit to cater for the month that you missed, say at the end, then the best option to do is to change the date range. So let's do that now, and let's add it to, let's say, I don't know, the end of May. And then if we press the X and then we go back to redo from scratch, this will now give us an additional month at the end where we could start plotting in some additional items should we wish. Finally, the print button. This allows us to generate printouts for the items listed here. So say for example if you wanted to do a printout of all the service jobs, clicking on generate, this will then create a little PDF file for all the service jobs that you could then print and download and maybe even email if you wished. Similarly, we've also got the same sort of thing for the service schedule. So you could do a nice printout of the graphical view of this particular schedule there. Well, that concludes the part 2 of the maintenance plan videos. The processes and reports that can be run from the service plan, including how to edit a schedule. So if you've got any questions on any of that at all, then don't hesitate to give us a shout.